Hi, welcome to this session on safeguarding children. I'm actually going to split this session up into 5 different videos to hopefully make them more manageable and easier to download. This first one is going to be an introduction to what safeguarding is, to sort of whet your appetite for the subject. But I have to say, it's an uncomfortable subject. It's not a pleasant subject to teach, and it's not a pleasant subject to listen to, but it's vitally important that each and every one of you gets your head around what safeguarding and child protection is or are, and what your responsibilities around safeguarding are. So that's what these sessions are designed to introduce you to. In terms of supporting you, there are 2 really key pieces of government guidance that all educators need to be aware of. The first is keeping children safe in education. You'll see from the date on the cover of this one, September 2019. This is actually updated every year, round about September, in time for the new academic term. So there will be a new one imminently. I'm recording this video in the summer of 2020, so the new one's not out yet. But it's important, in my opinion, that you Google this document and you create a bookmark on your web browser through to the government website where this is stored, and then you've always got a link to the up-to-date copy of it, rather than relying on printouts and that kind of thing. But this document, KCSIE, Keeping Children Safe in Education, this is it's the manual really for the procedures, processes and policies that schools need to put in place around creating their safeguarding policy, their child protection policy, and how they operate as education providers. The second document, Working Together to Safeguard Children, this one I always consider to be really relevant for early years. So if you're working in a nursery, in a children's centre, that kind of thing, this one is all about how the different agencies that are required to work together for such young children do so. It's a really good document. I mean, even as far as flow charts, if you suspect that this has happened to a child, if a child makes this kind of disclosure to you, flow charts on what you do next, what you do after that, etc., etc. At what point do you start to think about involving social services, etc. But this is for you as a setting or a school to use as guidance. This is not your individual responsibility at this point, unless you were to become a safeguarding lead. And Working Together to Safeguard Children really is the follow-up documentation to Every Child Matters, which I'm sure some of you will have heard of. But that's an old policy that actually hasn't existed since 2010, but it's one that a lot of educators felt a passion for and felt an affinity with. So you'll still see people referencing, people talking about Every Child Matters. You'll still see Every Child Matters posters in settings, I'm absolutely sure. So, over the course of these videos then, we'll be discussing the nature of safeguarding and child protection, trying to get our heads around the differences between the two. You'll hopefully understand your responsibilities regarding safeguarding and child protection as you go into placement and then start your careers. And importantly as well, you'll be aware of the 4 main categories of abuse that we use in this country. Again, this is really key information that you need for placement, but you also need for your careers moving forward. So, 2 different definitions then for 2 different areas. First one, safeguarding. So this is taken from DFE. Safeguarding and promoting the welfare of children, protecting children from maltreatment, preventing impairment of children's health or development, ensuring that children grow up in circumstances consistent with the provision of safe and effective care, and taking action to enable all children to have the best outcomes. Now, there's some key phrases in that. I think the second bullet point, children's health or development. If you're faced with a situation where you're sort of wondering, is this a safeguarding issue? Is this something that I should be concerned about? If there is an impairment to development, to health, then absolutely this is something that you should be thinking about in terms of a safeguarding episode. And then the final bullet point as well, taking action to enable all children to have the best outcomes. That's what safeguarding is about. It's about all children, and that's where it differs from child protection, because child protection is usually engaged with a specific child that has a specific issue. So child protection, as I've said there, with an old quote from 2006, is everything that is done to protect a child or young person from significant harm. So as I say, these will be children where a significant harm in terms of a specific harm has been identified with specific children. Safeguarding is something that we do with all children all the time.